where we dodging. Hide the bones in the garden. Never beg for a pardon. Cash in before the house rules. Never break from the ground rules. Got too high off our own fumes. We keep playing with fire, knowing it's a dangerous game. Yeah, we keep playing with fire. They can smell it from a mile away. Got some black market romance. Body with a cold hand. Crimes no one gets away with. Some sins you can't atone for. You're just so full. Had enough but gotta have more. We keep playing with fire, knowing it's a dangerous game. Yeah, we keep playing with fire. They can smell it from a mile away. So we keep playing with fire. Never learn, you never learn. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. Never learn, you never learn. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. Never learn, you never. We keep playing with fire, knowing it's a dangerous game. Yeah, we keep playing with fire. They can smell it from a mile away. Yeah, we keep playing with fire, knowing it's a dangerous game. Yeah, we keep playing with fire.
Happy Friday, March 7th, 2025. It's Chris and Mark with the NWA Exchange Podcast, the only podcast you need to listen to know everything about Bella Vista and beyond. Well, we hope everybody had a great week. Lots of things happening in the news cycle this week. We're going to break down a lot of it right now. Stay tuned. Hey, buddy, old pal of mine, how's it going? Happy Friday to you.
Amen, man. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Man, what a crazy week, dude. It's just, man, it seems the weeks are ramping up more and more.
Yeah.
We had that, like, it wasn't really considered a State of the Union this week, but just a congressional address. That one really was an eye opener if you wanted to look at how polarized our national politics are, to the point where people would not even stand up for a young man who has been surviving brain cancer. It's really difficult times, I think, to watch elected leaders talk about our democracy and our country, and they can't even have common decency for things that most of us hold near and dear, and that's, uplifting children who are suffering from things like cancer, uplifting the hopes and dreams of young people wanting to go to military. Hey, we appreciate that, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
People wanting to go to West Point and stuff like that. A lot of good things came out of that meeting. A lot of positive things. A lot of showing you how somebody is trying to shine a bright light in people's future and stuff like that, versus handing out freebies for people who haven't earned it. To be honest, all of our Social Security money and stuff going to fund people who've never paid a dime into it, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to get into that and much more. But sorry to start the podcast off kind of all negative Nancy like, but we have to talk about these things. These are adult conversations, and without having healthy adult dialogue and discourse about it, the problems just seem to always remain. I know some people may think that we're Trump fans over here. We are American fans over here, and we like policy. We like to see Americans succeed, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, left or right. At the end of the day, we're all Americans, and we need to rally around that fundamental idea and quit, I guess, being divided by these parties. I've said it a million times on the podcast, Mark. It's a right wing or left wing, but the wings are connected to the same dodo bird. And we don't worship the dodo here, man.
No. Yeah, their anger really blinded them, Chris, and it's disappointing to see that. I mean, you really got to put your differences aside, part in each party, and do the right thing. And it's a disappointment, and everybody loses at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yep, they do. And, that's evidence, man, is, the rise and falls of nations, man, and empires, right? Always usually boils down to people letting power go to their head and not doing right by their neighbors. And, I think we're living in some of those times. Hopefully it's not too late. Hopefully some of this can be turned around. Not for our futures. I think you and I, we're from the last generation of ass kickers, Gen X, baby. But it's for future generations. At the end of the day, man, we were raised a certain way where we'd rather die fighting than begging on our knees, man. And
for sure.
That's the reality of life, man. Is nobody's gonna take care of you. It's you that's got to take care of yourself. It's you that's got to force, these systems to actually do their jobs in the event of something such as a fire outbreak in your community. It's you that has to stand up. Hey, we appreciate that very much. Kelly Strain, how's it going, brother?
Thanks,
hopefully you're feeling a little bit better. I know everybody's been getting hit with some type of bug. Of some sorts. I know we got hit with it a couple weeks ago. Still not 110%, man. It's like that brain fog, man. That brain fog. I don't know. Maybe I need me some of that Alex Jones stuff. I might be a little retarded, but I got that full brain fog thing figured out. I don't know. No, I just
chemtrails, man. It's the chemtrails.
It's the chemtrails. Oh yeah. Jennifer's been doing a really great job managing the new group, Bella Vista Unfiltered. We got to give credit where credit's due, and she's doing a really great job doing that. Yep. We appreciate the support from her on that and growing. growing the page and growing the group. Again, a lot of these other groups require you to, if you want to, it's business. It's business. It's making money, right? They require people's insurance forms and phone numbers and addresses and et cetera. Just the social security number, a deed of your firstborn and, a genetic makeup of,
and blood.
You're 21 and me and all that jazz, right? No, we don't do that in Bella Vista Unfiltered. We just ask that everybody be an adult. I mean, we know we got keyboard warriors everywhere. It's okay to get into those little spats. Just keep it respectful, keep it on point, keep it factual. And I have not seen anything gone too way crazy in the group. But again, just keep it real, man. That's it. All right, man. Well, without further ado, let's tell everybody what they can look forward to starting tomorrow. Here we go.
All right, buddy. We got to cut through this quick because we got a lot on our plate tonight, man. So starting off with the Bentonville Farmers Market's taking place tomorrow, Saturday, from 9 a.m. to noon, 104 Southwest A Street. So that'll be going on. I think the next 2 weeks will be inside. Then they'll be making their way outside. So
yeah,
with the warmer weather. So
it's on its way.
Yeah, for sure. We have the firefighter benefit dinner taking place Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. In Pineville, 2938 Rains Road in Pineville. Barbecue fundraiser. So get out and support that fundraiser. It's $10. Kids are $5. Be a good time to go out there and have dinner, and it's for a great cause. So the proceeds will benefit a family of a fallen firefighter. So
yeah, that's going to the White Rock firefighter group, right? Yes, it says 2 sandwiches, coleslaw, baked beans, and a drink. Kid 1 sandwich and chips. $10 for adults, $5 for kids. Proceeds will benefit the family of fallen firefighter. And you guys can get more information out there. Buy your tickets if you want. Or you can call Crystal at 479-466-1582 or Amber at 417-342-6519. Try to support our first responders that help out all these small communities, do mutual aid, et cetera, et cetera. I can tell you that these firefighters band together and help out their neighboring communities all the time. All right.
Yes, sir.
Coffee with a cop. Oh, no, man.
Yeah.
Does it come with donuts? Eh?
So March 11th, Coffee with a Cop, community comes together with police. I've been there, I think it's been about 2 or 3 years, but they have conversations in the local community. They usually have somebody from the sheriff's office come in and just talk about what they're doing and try to open up those lines of communication. So that'll be taking place again Saturday, March 11th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Village Baptist Church.
Correction, Tuesday, March 11th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize.
I got you. Don't
Good
worry,
catch,
man.
buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Tuesday, March 11th at Village Baptist Church here in Bella Vista. If y'all go, let us know what they're trying to hawk, man. Some of these times they use them as an opportunity to try to educate you on why you should vote yes on the millage increase or whatnot. So
yeah,
keep that in mind, man.
It's funny you said that because the one I went to, they pushed the jail. Remember? They pushed
you almost choked on a donut hole, man. Yeah, I mean,
man, there's so many bobbleheads, though. It was unbelievable.
All right, moving on. Your favorite time of the night, man. The Budget Busters at a $10 cost plus. Here we go.
If you missed a whole and half boneless ribeyes last week, they brought them back again. $6.55 a pound, man's of steel. Smithfield bacon, 12-ounce bacon, $2.50 each. Pork butts, 2-pack. That's almost that time of the year, man. Pulled pork, $1.48 a pound. 80/20 ground beef, $3.45 a pound. Baby back ribs, $2.50 a pound, and boneless chicken breast, $1.98 a pound. There's a lot of good stuff this week.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Let's see what we got. With no break tonight, eh? We got a lot of Arkansas news that's coming out in the cycle, so we are going to retool and get into that real quick. Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this one popped up. Human remains found on woods near bike trail. Rogers police say 3 juveniles discovered the remains, according to the police. This has the makings of a movie from back in our time, Mark, called Stand By Me. Just out riding your bike with your friends and you run across a body. Yeah, that happened in Rogers, Arkansas this week. Human remains were found in the woods near Rogers Bike Trail on Thursday, according to Rogers Police Department. RPD spokesperson Corporal Don Lisi said the remains were found on March 6 by 3 juveniles in a wooded area behind South 7th Street in a bike trail between West Nursery Road and West Price Lane. Once notified, officers immediately secured the scene till the following morning for investigators to begin processing. The statement, which was released on Friday, says the bones appear to have aged significantly, Lisi said, and investigators will be working to figure out how and when the death occurred. That's so unfortunate, man. We have so many miles of bike trail in Northwest Arkansas, and that's one to think about. The next time that they offer to put in more bike trails in Bella Vista, Arkansas, we've seen a rise in people being injured or going missing on these bike trails, only to be found expired due to exposure to the elements, etc. We had an elderly woman that unfortunately passed away behind one of the churches over on the west side. We had a gentleman who his remains were found out on the back 40 segment over here towards Lake. And this stuff does happen. I don't believe that there are enough resources to scale and cover all the trails. And you could be 15 feet off of one of these trails out in the woods and never be found.
Yeah, very true.
So it's something to think about, is what do these trails bring in? They bring in the potential for people to end up dead in your woods. They also bring in a lot of, excited, motivated people to ride the trails and stuff. So again, there has to be a healthy balance with, one, maintaining said trails, but two, also having the appropriate resources to get out and patrol these trails and look for situations where somebody may have, I'm hoping this isn't foul play, but may have just, bunkered down due to a cold storm coming in or something. But you never know, man. There's a lot that goes on in the woods. If you've forgotten, there's this great movie out there called Deliverance. I encourage everybody to pick it up and watch it. I believe it's probably out there on Apple Movies, might be on Netflix, but I'm sure it's readily available. You could probably even find it on YouTube. That's things happen in the woods, man, and this is Arkansas, so just letting you know. All right.
At any given time, between 25 and 50 serial killers in the U.S. So just throwing that out there too.
Any given time, any given time. All right, man. Well, over-the-counter ivermectin. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This week, ivermectin bill heads to Arkansas House after Senate approval. Interest in human use of ivermectin grew when people began taking it to prevent or treat COVID-19, despite the FDA and other health agencies warning against it. Well,
so my understanding with that is they couldn't, and I called about this around, and they couldn't prescribe ivermectin because the COVID shot was approved by the CDC, overrode it. So they weren't.
No, the emergency use is a little bit different. The emergency use authorization was granted because there was no other viable medication. Okay. So if we flag working medication to push an untested thing out of emergency use authorization, well, guess what? Hey, everybody gets to take the shot with a nice side of myocarditis and move along, little doggy. Move along. That's what you get, right? But you do remember when this was demonized as people taking horse paste, et cetera. No, ivermectin's been around since the 80s. The creator of it, or the discoverer or the inventor of it, won the Nobel Peace Prize for it. It was actually used to treat parasitic infections, viral infections. There is promising studies with it in using it for treatment of cancer and all types of stuff. Military used it heavily back in the 80s as well. So it is a viable human-ready medication. It has been for years. People with Crohn's disease take it. There's a litany of people that take it. Right? Yeah. So an
Yeah,
Arkansas
it's a shame.
bill that would allow ivermectin, an anti-parasitic drug, to be sold over the counter has passed in the Senate with a 31-4 vote on March 6. Ivermectin tablets are typically used to treat conditions caused by parasitic worms, while ivermectin topicals can be used to treat head lice, skin conditions like rosacea, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The drug also is used on animals through pour-on injectable paste in chewable forms. The FDA has received several reports of people requiring medical attention, such as hospitalization, after mistakenly self-medicating with ivermectin intended for animals. Interest in human use of ivermectin grew when people began taking it to prevent and treat COVID-19, despite the FDA and other health agencies warning against it. The FDA has never authorized or approved ivermectin for that purpose. No, they only authorized something that was never tested, had very low efficacy rates, and very high adverse events reported. That's what they approved instead of COVID-19 for that purpose.
Isn't that what Trump took? He took ivermectin, didn't he?
He took hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and the cocktail, as I think was his words. The Arkansas measure would allow the human use and over-the-counter sale of ivermectin without a prescription or consultation from healthcare professionals. The bill would now head to the House for consideration. So that's another one that, Arkansas is kind of paving the way on that, right? But you don't have to wait. You can go and get you some of that apple-flavored horse paste over at the Tractor Supply store anytime you want. No, I'm just kidding. Don't follow my advice. I am not a trained medical expert or anything of the sorts. I'm just saying there's a lot of bad information back in them days, man. We remember we still rocking and rolling a flag, man, for just even mentioning ivermectin. So it'd be interesting to see if we get the Facebook overlord sitting here blocking us now that this is actual real news where the state of Arkansas. Listen, fact checker that's assigned to us. The state of Arkansas is actually considering making it illegal without a prescription to buy human-ready ivermectin over the counter. Oh, Big Pharma ain't gonna like that one, huh? Oh, well. HB 1445, buddy. This one, I've been very hopeful of this one, but it seems to have just stalled out for some reason. I don't know. Maybe we'll hear about it some more on it next week. I'm hoping that more comes out because, well,
just scroll down the bottom, Chris. It
says nothing upcoming on here, which is weird. It hasn't been updated since 2/12. It was returned by the committee, recommend do pass. The next meeting was on the local affairs committee meeting on the 12th.
Who's in charge of updating this stuff?
It looks like the primary sponsor is McKinsey and Mr. Bryant. So I don't know. Maybe we need to reach out to them, get an update. But this bill was actually intended to streamline and prohibit cities from taking, overreaching measures against short-term rentals, such as maybe a city that we are familiar with and very near and dear to.
Rolling up 7 police cars at a house.
Rolling up with the Gestapo, all code enforcement, all tagged and bagged, ready to rock and roll with your body armor, your sidearm, and your badge. Right?
Bulletproof
We're from Community Development Services, and we're here to inspect your short-term rental. Fan out, fellas. Clear the rooms. Let's get under these sinks, right? Dude, you can't make it up. But that really did happen, man.
Oh man, it's true. It's man.
So yeah, no word on this one. No upcoming events for the bill. I'm really hopeful that this one will get passed, especially before next city council meeting, because as most people know, that there's still a standing item, which Shay Newport seconded Larry Wilm's third and final option during the last city council meeting for something where I think it's a blatant overreach in trying to establish your own little police force over in community development, something that is 100% an outlier from other cities, right? We learned during the city council meeting when Taylor decided she was going to let the city council member asking questions know that other cities in Benton County, well, that city council member, Travis Harp, actually did his due diligence and reached out to other cities. Yeah. Again, people have everybody has a short memory, so just got to make sure we do that reminder part. Then it was mentioned in the regular city council meeting from January that Little Rock did it. Well, Councilman Travis Harp reached out to Little Rock, and no, they're structured totally different. And he made the remarks during the last city council meeting that comparing Bella Vista to Little Rock is apples and oranges, right? So again, it really makes me question why I've sent this information from the FOIA, where we only had approximately 50-something notices of violations. The number cited during the work session was over 150. Not accurate information according to what I received in FOIA. And during the regular city council meeting said that it was at 200 notices of violation being issued, which was being used as rationale to approve this and move it forward, right? And the number was like at 118, and that was actually me using a couple of duplicates that we found in the FOIA. So again, the numbers were grossly misrepresented. The situation is not similar to any other city in Northwest Arkansas. I would have to recommend hard fail, table listing indefinitely, kick it to the curb. If the legislation needs to be updated to put the responsibility of enforcing these things under code enforcement, I would be in support of that. But trying to create a piecemeal Gestapo from community development services, given some of the behaviors that we've seen coming out of there, i.e. misrepresenting true facts, inflating numbers, etc. And again, we have to talk about the individual that's running this department. Okay, again, first job ever, right? Since graduating college, first job, Bella Vista. Now you're the director within a few short years. Get out there in the real world, get some real world experience. Quit using Bella Vista as your guinea pig or your college project. I don't know. But this should not be a place for our tax dollars should not be going for a trial and error or a case study for your doctorate paper or whatever you're writing up. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there, man. Should not be being used like that. Man. It's like you hire people that have a slew of real world experience, not some dodo out of college that just had managed to wiggle their way up to the director position in a couple of years. Nothing good can come from this. I'm just saying. But we'll have to see how it goes, man. Again, I vocalized this, but it's going to take each and every one of you to reach out to your city council members and let them hear your viewpoint on if you think that we should be building our own little secret squirrel deputy police force that has the ability to cite people. I don't know. Maybe it should be done legally so that it can stand up in court. Just saying. Okay, man, moving along. Arkansas brewing industry says they may be hurt by all the tariffs that are happening. I don't know how that's happening yet, but they said that they had to go ahead and start proceeding prepared for. They said they got prepared for tariffs by doing major layoffs. The co-owner says Ozark Beer Company said they laid off half of their staff in January ahead of talks of tariffs. President Donald Trump postponed 25% of tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for a month with the on-again and off-again tariff threats. Some local businesses are on edge about what could happen. Not only could the tariffs create rising costs in consumers' groceries, but the production of sale of alcohol could be impacted too. Ozark Beer Company said that the uncertainty causes major concerns with the brewing industry in Arkansas. A lot of grain that we were able to get in the United States actually comes from Canada. Some of our aluminum as well that we use for cans. Ozark Beer Company co-owner Lacey Bray said, other than water, the next highest thing we use is the malt. If the prices of cans and malt go up 25%, it's going to be a huge hit for our industry. Bray said they don't know how to properly prepare because of the constant back and forth. We've laid off half of our staff in January preparing for this. With the chaos of what we're going to do tariffs, we're going to push them off. It really doesn't allow a situation for businesses to plan accordingly. We have to be very reactive because we don't know what's coming, but they're trying to remain hopeful. One positive thing that a lot of craft breweries have for them is that we do have the ability to sell directly to the consumer in our tap rooms, Bray said. I would just encourage people, if you want to support your local businesses, and this is the breweries, this is the service industry, they are restaurants, these are bars in our areas, then make sure you're spending money at these places. I can't agree more, spending money local and supporting local brewers. And I can relate with some of this, first to go, last to know mentality right now. It's hard to prepare for the unknown. And we are seeing, a lot of back and forth decisions being made. Again, I'm not condoning the behavior. I'm saying that Trump does not show all of his cards. Trump is strategical in the way he does things, and lets usually the bad actors kind of hang their butts out themselves. So again, I know it's hard to be prepared in these times of uncertainty. You just gotta have to just grin and bear it, and hope you make it through onto the other side. I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but that's kind of the truth with everything that's going on right now. It doesn't seem to be clear and defined and outlined. It seems to be more disruptive for a purpose, disrupting for a purpose to shake the boat, maybe, and let give the rats a few moments to jump off the boat before you sail away, right? Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. I don't know. What are your thoughts, buddy?
I don't know, man. I have mixed feelings about this whole thing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm extremely disappointed with the administration. I'm surprised that there's no indictments right now, to be honest with you. There's a lot of credible information out there, and I mean, it's one thing after another with this administration. I think you made a point of it earlier. Was talking that they're heading in 50 different directions. Man, focus on one thing. I mean, like the Epstein files. Here's a perfect example. Okay.
Yeah.
You say you're going to have I think it was Thursday, right? Then they moved it to Friday morning.
Yeah, last Thursday, they said they were going to release them. They were on the desk. They were going to release them Thursday. They brought in a slew of social media influencers to include Chad Prather. Was it Laura Loomer, I think? No, maybe Laura Loomer wasn't. But there was a slew of social media influencers. And meanwhile, the rest of the world's like, well, they're not going to release them to the rest of the world and publish them on a website? This group of people got these special binders. Well, DC Drano shared out a live video from the Reagan International Airport and out there in DC as he's getting ready to board, and he's flipping through, and everything was redacted in the books. And it turned out that a lot of the information was actually old information, stale information, which is just kind of like one of them gotcha moments. And then like they come out on Friday saying there's a truckload of paperwork that's coming from New York, and they were holding it up. It's like, why would you damage your credibility by releasing partial information? You know,
I'm gonna go as far as I know people are I mean, to me, that's just, it's unforgivable. Because how I look at this is you lied to the American people. You didn't have the information in front of you, and if it was supposed to get to you and didn't get to you, why didn't you cancel the meeting? Why did you bring all the influencers in, give them these folders, and act like they're, this is all legitimate information, only to find out that you have truckloads in New York and the FBI agent out there
I mean, you're the Attorney General. You're telling me you don't have control of the DOJ is what you're telling me. And it really makes me question, like, because there are no prosecutions, we're actually allowing the bureaucrats to basically slow walk things and dictate the timelines to the new administration, because every day they waste is a day lost. And that clock is ticking before the next primary cycle.
My personal opinion is I think she should just resign. I think this is way in over her head. She's not capable of doing it. It's a big deal when you're
very
going from
reminiscent of Bill Barr days, man. Very reminiscent of Bill Barr days. And I get it. I get it.
Remember Jeff Sessions? Same deal.
The law has to apply equally, and it has to be done the proper way, right? We just can't, we can't just throw a bunch of information and conjecture without any, supporting evidence, et cetera. It can't just be all circumstantial. So I get it, but this has been years of agents having this information and no investigation. This is years of wasted productivity. This is years of a cover-up.
Right. Here's my problem. Bondi should have known exactly what she had when she arranged to have the appointment on Thursday, to have everybody in there to have that conversation. She knew she didn't have it. So why would you
invite all these influencers to get a plane ticket and come out to DC just to be gaslit? That's the slap in the face, man.
Yeah, and you make them look like idiots by sending that back out because they trusted you, and they're going to disseminate crap that's already been sent out, only to tell them you're waiting on more information. in New York. I
Oh,
mean,
and they
this
all
is just,
tweeted it, man. They all tweeted it. You know, Chad Prather out there holding up his little binder. Most transparent administration ever. Really? And have you opened it up and looked at any of the pages that are redacted there, Chad?
Yeah.
Right? You just parroted the narrative. Parrot the narrative. Operation Mockingbird, maybe? I don't know.
And part of it, I feel bad for them because, you know, they thought they're, you know.
They lost credibility in my book.
Yeah.
Why post about it if you can't confirm what you're doing, you know? Like,
right.
Cool story, bro. You went there and got a binder full of BS. Nice.
Yeah. I just don't know what the end game is there. Why would you give all the influencers fake redacted information? Not fake, but redacted information that was already out in the public. Yeah. And then all of a sudden turn around and have a meeting and say you're upset, and then you're going with Kash Patel to the Southern District of New York to collect what you're supposed to have in the first place.
And then allowing the person that's been holding it up to resign versus actually saying, no, you know what, man, you're in violation of U.S. code and you know, you've really overstepped your bounds here. I don't know. Again, it's the unified front, which I don't think, you know, I mean, I think that the presidential appointees are posturing that they have a unified front to support the president's mission. But again, I think that it also is a challenge, given the shotgun approach to this too, right? It's just they're blasting and spraying and hoping something hits the floor versus actually taking a systematic approach, an engineered approach. Like if we want to talk about things like reduction in the government workforce, that's a big topic. I know there's a lot of news stories and a lot of lawsuits going on about people being terminated, people being reinstated, et cetera, et cetera. But you have to look at the baseline numbers first and figure out, okay, where can we trim the fat before you just go in and start cutting everything, because that's a hack job at best, right? And you run the risk of doing more damage by not having a systematic approach to it, right? Maybe in the mind of some person that, you know, is got ADHD and taking Adderall or something, man, maybe in the mind that what they're doing makes sense, but it needs to make sense to the general public, especially when you're talking about critical care services that are health and human services related, veteran services related, security related, you know, these essential social services related, right? It's a slippery slope, man. And I can just tell you, point blank, it doesn't feel like it feels like there's a lot of blind trust being placed, kind of like it did with the whole COVID thing with Fauci and Dr. Birx, where and then leaving things up to the governors, and then that's where we saw the government overreach. You know, heaven forbid you lived in Michigan during that time. You know, again, things have to make sense. Things have to be applied so that they are, one, disruptive enough to kind of get rid of the bad actors, but two, preserve the integrity of the functions. And if that's not the goal, to preserve the integrity of the function, if it is deemed essential, then obviously chop it all away. But I think that there are a lot of essential services that many in our nation rely on, that are kind of being impacted by this kind of slash everything must go fire sale approach. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. You guys watching the show in the comments, I don't know what your thoughts are, but you know, I do see your comments on the screen. Let me know your thoughts, because again, it's been a few weeks, right? It's been a few weeks of this whole shakeup with the federal workforce, the whole shakeup with funding, the whole 9 yards, and I'm just not seeing really any tangible wins on it other than, yeah, we're reducing the workforce. Yeah, we're reducing the budget on some things. We're canceling contracts. That is a positive, right? Wasteful contracts, wasteful grants to nonprofits that are, you know, owned by, I don't know, people like Soros. You know, I can agree with that stuff, right? But the flip side of the coin is that this approach is a one-size-fits-all approach, and it's not really taking the care of like social services and stuff that people are actually reliant on. So that's my 2 cents on it, man.
They're valid points, man. They're really valid points. So, I mean, with Bondi, I guess going back to that is, I really think she needs to be put in another position, man. I'm sorry, but she's just not cutting it.
Man,
I feel like,
I was a Gates fan myself, man.
I thought Matt Gates would have been the guy for that. Or there's other options. I think she's just way in over her head, and this proves it right here. I mean, that was just a debacle right out of the gates. There's no way to explain this. You know what I mean?
That was just such a shit show. I mean, her pulling those all the media influencers sharing stuff out on Twitter and social media saying, I'm getting ready to get the Epstein files. Yeah. And everybody's like, well, I thought they were going to release this for the general public to consume on, the vault. But you created like this little micro production, right? And like tried to create like this little clout thing. And it ended up blowing up in your face.
Yeah. Well, everybody's been talking about it. Even Musk said they were going to release it. So his word doesn't mean anything right now either with that statement that he made with it. It's disappointing because they're not communicating properly. And at that level, listen, man, it's unforgivable. Yeah. It's like going into a meeting with executives. And
we're going to start catching shade. We're going to start catching shade from people. You guys are talking bad about the Trump administration, guys. Yeah, we are. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about things that we call it like we see it, man. A spade is a spade. If you make a bonehead decision like Pam Bondi did, you're going to get called to the carpet. That's equal opportunity haters here, right? Again, we're not pro-Trump. We're not pro-Biden. We're pro-America. We want a government system that actually is representative of what our founding fathers intended for. They did not intend for the government to control and rule every aspect of your life and be your mommy and tell you that you shouldn't drink Coca-Cola and you should drink Diet Coke instead. That's not the government's role, man. You want to be a glutton? Go be a glutton. Go suck down chili dogs. Go suck down donuts. Eat a bear claw for dessert. And drink a freaking 2 liter of Coca-Cola with extra sugar in it. I don't care. That's your prerogative, you badass American sucker.
Listen how stupid this is, though. She schedules the meeting for Thursday. Listen, I'm going to put this in perspective for you. You're going into a meeting, right, and with executives, right? You're going to do numbers for the next quarter, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's going in without having anything, having last month's or last quarter's numbers.
Hey, Connie, we appreciate that.
Do you know what I'm saying? You're going in there knowingly you don't have the numbers they want, but you're going to feed it to them anyways. I mean, that's grounds for termination.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
She passed the guys a book and said, "This is everything you need." No, it's not. It's not. Like the world, and then it came out. I think it was yesterday or today, saying that the new information, the truckload of information that they had will likely be redacted due to matters of national security. What kind of matters of national security could an elite group of pedophiles present by releasing that? What kind of I mean, let's be real here. I don't know. Does the matters of national security that we have elite group of pedophiles running things in our country supersede the national security risk of like releasing who the heck these people are? I don't know. Yeah. Where's the ways and means on it, right? How do we say better of two evils, right? Well, who's the judge and arbitrator of that? Because at the end of the day, I think most people can agree harming children is a pretty bad thing to do, right? Trafficking humans is a pretty bad thing to do, right? The court of common sense will rule if these people should be protected or not. Hey, we appreciate that very much, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Again, it's the bonehead decisions, and this is what the administration's off to a rough start when it comes to appointing an attorney general. Like, look, man, like Merrick Garland or not, Merrick Garland was told to prosecute Donald Trump by the president, and he did it. By golly, he at least just executed and did it, right?
Here's the funny thing about this, man. The FBI agent goes, I'm not sending you the truckload of stuff. What do? Pam Bondi goes out with Kash Patel, the Southern District of New York.
Look here, fella, you need to retire today.
Forced retirement with all the benefits? Sure, I'll do that. I mean, this is so pathetic. It's unbelievable. It is, I cannot even take it serious.
I can't
either. And the fact, here's why I'm grilling her, is because Trump, win. I'm sick of it, dude. Well,
Well,
you're so smart,
that and the
but
whole
you weren't.
promises made, promises kept thing. Like they're like that's just so petty when you're not actually keeping the promise. I mean, we were all promised the MLK files, the JFK files,
RFK files.
RFK file. We were promised all of that, and like
Nothing.
again, still
Zero.
both.
Zero.
No taxes on tips, right? Oh, no taxes on overtime. Still waiting, pending, right?
Get in gear, man.
But meanwhile, we're doing a Bitcoin reserve. Like, what the hell is our federal government doing investing in Bitcoin? Right? What are we doing there?
Well,
Again,
yeah,
a
I mean,
lot of streams, and I get it. We're not part of that club. We don't know what's going on, but there are things that need to make sense to the general public if you want the general public to support it. I.e., if you want federal workers to return to offices, why are you selling off building and canceling building contracts? Where are you going to put the federal workers? Or is the plan to just not keep the federal workers? Be transparent, be upfront. That's what people expect. It's not a hard concept.
It's horrendous, man.
Yeah.
Communications is horrible. Absolutely horrible.
So I think that the approach, I mean, I get it. There's obviously an approach of redemption, an approach of what's that movie, man, when they had Emilio Estevez in it? Young Guns.
Yeah, Young Guns.
Yeah, where they're out for revenge and stuff. But at some point, man, the revenge aspect has to stop, and we have to get back to making business and making sense and actually doing the best for every American, regardless of what side of the political spectrum they're on. And I'm just at this point, man, I'm like, we need to be laser focused on tangible items that are going to uplift this nation, and hopefully that this administration is there. I'm just not feeling it at this point in time. I'm not seeing the momentum. I'm not seeing the coordinated effort. I'm not. It seems more or less like kind of a tactic, a bluff.
Well, we told people before, man. If you got listen, they went sideways. We're going to grill them, and that's the way it's going to be, man. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
You tell us you're going to deliver something, you don't deliver it, we're calling you out for it.
Yeah.
He's been yakking about the JFK files forever.
I know.
He could have released those back in 2016. He didn't.
Yep.
And fast forward, where are they now? Does it really take that long? It was 15 days. Then it was a max on the RFK files at 45.
Yep. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're looking at Adobe licenses, right? And figuring we're looking at Adobe licenses over in the Department of Human Services. We're looking at how many Department of Labor licenses we had for I don't know, Newsweek, subscriptions stuff. I get it. That needs to go away too, right? But we need to be doing more with less, clearly, right? And we need to be cutting out the stuff that makes sense, but not terrorizing the federal workers that are actually doing the work either, right? Again, keep things professional, keep things focused, laser focused, set clearly defined goals and move towards those goals versus just this chaos mode, right? It might not be like, look, I know they have like this mode, like hyper mode or chaos mode in one of the Tesla cars, but that's not real life. Okay. There's most people show up to work with the intent to do their job. Most people do. So again, don't apply something that only affects 2% of the workforce, 1% of the workforce, whatever. Like, make it make sense, because a lot of the services that, I saw a thing about the National Park Services, right? They cut like $5 billion in spending, but the park brings in $55 billion a year, right? So your park was bringing in $50 billion. How much is your park going to bring in? Your national parks program going to bring in now that you've cut that $5 billion in staffing out, right?
Right.
We won't know, right? We won't know. But what we do know is that if they have to backfill those positions, chances are that just like with the nurses during COVID, like firing all the nurses because they would refuse to take a shot, right? Really hard to backfill that with qualified, talented people.
Yep.
Again, probably going to double the workforce by the end of everything being said and done because you've pushed that talent out now. So just make it make sense is all I want. No common sense, Mark. The JFK files are in a truck in New York, in a van down by the river. Okay, in a van down by the river, Kelly.
He's right, man.
Those JFK files were like, you're living in a van down by the East River in New York City.
It's unbelievable though, man. I mean, they think we forget about this stuff. That's what's crazy. They spout off all this stuff and they don't think we're going to come back and ask them for it, you know?
No, yeah. Look, man, you open your mouth, Move it along, my friend. Arkansas, still up in the news, y'all. Arkansas is making big moves. Apparently, they've shifted their focuses from back in the day hanging out with old Asa Hutchinson. Let's get over here to WebbyShare. Yeah, Mark posted this one on February 26th at 5:04 p.m. Governor Sanders has vowed to look at China's holdings in Arkansas and possibly make them divest. Check out this special delegation sent out to meet the CCP in 2019 to grow the business in Arkansas.
Baby.
And look at those faces closely. Meanwhile, there are several companies in Arkansas doing huge business. You know who you are, little friends over there in Bentonville. In Beijing, make it make sense. Well, let's go ahead and bump in on this little, and we got the possum there, man. We got the possum. Look at his little possum smile. There he is. You see him right there in the middle? Oh, Asa. What's up, Asa? Where you been? Ain't nobody. Somebody needs to do a silver alert for that fella. Ain't nobody seen him since the DNC. Hope he's okay, man. Hope he's okay. I don't know. Silver alert, anybody? I don't know. He was hanging out there with all the Democrats, and then he just disappeared.
What's so funny about this is all of a sudden we care what the Chinese are doing. We put a whole envoy. They came in Arkansas for the last 5-6 years. They're actually working on expanding out crops and buying other businesses. And all of a sudden we're acting like, what's going on? They're buying up all our land. Listen, people were well aware they're buying our land.
Yeah, the second largest farmland buyer outside of Bill Gates. Oh, another familiar name, huh? What's just saying? So yeah, Mindy McClendon. Oh, that's the tariffs. Let's get rid of you. We don't need that. We already talked about the tariffs. Let's see. This guy talking here's Mindy talking about Arkansas blocks China from doing business in the state. Live now on Fox. Come on, play. Don't do this to me. All right, we're going to have to refresh.
Linked to forced labor by putting transparency,
We'll back you up just a smidge, Mindy. We want her message to be loud and clear for Arkansans.
Thank you. I want to thank the governor as well for stepping up and protecting Arkansas taxpayers and upholding ethical standards in government spending. The two bills that I have will make sure that state agencies do not purchase promotional materials from China, and also will prohibit procurement of electric vehicles that are linked to forced labor. By putting transparency, accountability, and economic safety first, we are standing firm against foreign influence. So again, it is such a privilege to carry this legislation. I look forward to it becoming law, and I thank the governor for reinforcing her commitment to responsible stewardship of government resources.
So, how would one prove that an electric vehicle was linked to forced labor? How would one prove that, Mark?
Good question.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, anyway, right?
Yep.
I mean, if somebody sourced their battery material from, a mine in Zimbabwe, a lithium mine in Zimbabwe, one could argue that that battery pack is a product of forced labor, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So the way
it's arbitrary. It's kind of an arbitrary legislation, and I'm a little concerned that Mindy's being pushed out front by a lot of, entrenched GOP folks, for lack of better words. Little worried about the influences that we're seeing. Is their assembly going to work on at a for-profit prison? Yeah, I don't know. Lithium mines in the Congo are mined by child labor. Yeah, we're getting comments on that. Yeah. See, I mean, how do you prove it and how do you bar it? Again, legislation sounds good on the surface, right? It's just one of them feel good things, right? But how do you enforce it?
The problem with this is we're tangled in with the Chinese regardless. There's several corporations that are doing huge business in China right now. Two of them are right here in Arkansas, huge ones. Okay, I won't even get into it. When you open your books to the Chinese, they want everything. They're into their systems. They're into everything because that's how Chinese roll. That's how China rolls.
This is how we roll, man.
The CCP wants everything, and they infiltrate your system. That's what they do. So they're here. They've got a lot of interest here, and I know I saw someone post today that there was a judgment for Missouri, 43,000 acres against China.
Yeah,
Well,
and they're talking
good
about
luck.
you need to make it right, and you need to start paying your fines, or we're going to start seizing land and assets. Up there in Missouri. Dude, I don't have a problem with what the Missouri AG is doing. I really don't. It's time, that it's time that we have to, as Americans, we have to realize that, look, man, we rose to a prominence of really awesomeness, man, due to all the adversities this nation has had to overcome in such a short time period, right? I mean, we broke away from England, 250 something years ago, Mark? Right? We just no. Everybody's like, God save the Queen. And we're like, fuck the Queen, man. I mean, we just went full, no more, right? And that was our prerogative to do, right? We are a rebellious little nation. We're a bunch of shitheads.
We're young,
in the grand stage of the world, we're a bunch of little shithead punks, man. They think they know what's better, but we rose to a position of power because of that American rebellious spirit, free thinking, free speaking, being able to have it out with people in free speech platforms, right? Clearly, nobody wants that anymore. I mean, there's so much control. We want it over on Bella Vista Unfiltered, so make sure you go over to that Facebook group and join. And I even encourage people to leave the other groups. You're going to feel a weight of the world leave your shoulders. Look, man, I'm a grown man. You're a grown man, Mark. We know we have grown women out there too. Look, if we want to figure out who's a good handyman in Bella Vista, we're going to be able to figure that information out. We're a resourceful little bunch. We can figure that out. We don't need a million Angie's lists that are sitting there sucking in your data and selling them to who knows who. Who knows where your data is going. I don't know. If somebody asked me for a certificate of my business, you want to see my state records, you want to see my liability insurance and who I'm insured with, just for me to even join your Facebook group, you can kiss my white little butt. Okay? We're not doing it no more. We're not playing this game, right? Because at the end of the day, you're turning me into what you're selling to other people for your sponsorship. When you're charging real estate companies to put your banner up in your Facebook group, you've automatically taken me out of this neighborly group and put me into a classification that I'm a product. I ain't nobody's product. I'm an American.
Yep.
All right.
That's valid points. I'm still for no property taxes, buddy.
No property taxes too,
anymore.
I'm at this point too. I've hit that moment in my salty old life, man. Is you know what? I like salt though, man. Chips better with salt on them, So whatever, the salt of life. But I've hit that moment, man, where I'm just sitting here watching others profit off of and raise my property taxes by buying and acquiring land and putting in developments. The people of Bentonville are sure feeling that one right now, talking about a possible 50% increase in water and electric prices. What is going on in Bentonville? Look, man, I know somebody with a lot of money has been putting in a lot of high density population apartments. A lot of them. They got a lot of money. But yet the regular taxpayer is supposed to, I guess, front the bill for all the shortages and the infrastructure strain, right? No, sir. That's why we have these things called impact fees that more cities need to be capitalizing on when it comes to commercial development, high density development, tourist attraction development. We need to make sure that we, the people, are not subsidizing the great grand schemes to remake Northwest Arkansas, this whole 100-mile bubble. But yet you, the taxpayer, are none the wiser because, well, it's only a nickel and dime here. It's only a 5% millage increase. It's only a penny tax that never expires, but you're still subsidizing it. Meanwhile,
Right.
one of the richest families on earth is still getting richer. Just saying.
Yeah, having that huge condo behind the Chick-fil-A on South Walton, that's a kicker, man, huh?
Yeah. Don't even recognize Bentonville no more, man. I really don't. Sharon got a great valid point here. Or just reduce the local residents' taxes by 50%. See, that's the balance, though. We have to have a balance. We have to have city councilors and city lawmakers making it make sense. Look, you want to put a bike park in. I'm not against you putting your bike park in, buddy. But let's be real about that bike park. That bike park is a tourist attraction. Why do you call it a tourist attraction, Chris? Well, I don't know, because you're actually publishing stories about it in Forbes and trying to get the whole free world to come to Northwest Arkansas to ride in your new world-class first ever bike lift bike park in Bella Vista, Arkansas, right? But the reality is that this is going to put a strain on a lot of our local resources. It's going to put a strain on our infrastructure. It's going to put a strain on our roads. It's going to put a strain on our EMS services. Heaven forbid somebody gets injured out there. I don't want people getting injured out there, but it's going to put a strain on there. And let's be real. There's only a small percentage of Northwest Arkansas Bella Vista residents that want something like this because of the survey. We were good on bike trails, but no, you've got 6 or 7 more of them rammed down your throat on your common property. Also raising up that tax bill to $90,000 from the city and $90,000 from the POA to a grand total of $180,000 with no actual tangible work being conducted because the trails still suck. Who's actually working on the trails? Volunteers. Where's this $190,000 going? I don't know. But me personally, as a resident and a taxpayer of Bella Vista, the big question I have is where the hell did $1 million go that we're running $1 million in the deficit? Where's the study on that? Where did the money go? Why, for the first time ever, are we running in the red and pulling out of reserves? Right? Something has changed.
Good question.
But yet, no, we're going to be on the hook for coming up and subsidizing that $1 million. And these are projections, right? So let's just call it a cool 2 mil because the projections are always lower than what they actually are. No, we need policymakers, we need legislators to actually start saying, if you are going to attract the free world to Northwest Arkansas for a commercial business, then guess what, buddy? We're going to tax you as so that our people are not subsidizing your fun park. And leave it at that.
Yeah, I think you made a good point. I think it was last week about privatizing it. And in a lot of cases, a lot of these businesses should just be privatized.
Yeah.
And they do like a ski lift, you pay a fee or whatever to ride it for the weekend or whatever.
Yeah, but they have their ski
it.
patrol out there and they have their EMS services out there and they don't put a strain on anything for the actual person that lives here. Yeah. That is what I see actually working with the community. That's what I see actually trying to become part of the fold of the community is you're not being a burden to the community. You're not raising our taxes. You're not raising our property taxes on top of it by building this monstrosity. So that's why I think taxes, if you build something like that, should be frozen, man. You should be at that rate that you were before this tourist attraction comes in. Because at the end of the day, you never truly own your property, even if it's paid off. Like some of us, you never own it. Because you're at the whims of the tax man, and the tax man is going to cometh. And it might be $2,500 now, but in 10 years, it might be $25,000. We don't know. That is the problem and the challenge is that I think that a lot of legislators need to be really focused on is how do they preserve the heritage and the integrity of the communities that they're allowing rich people to come in and turn into their backyard playgrounds.
Yeah, the problem with that is, and like we said this before, is you only have a certain amount of money, right? People on fixed income or whatever retired, and they deserve to be retired, and they're using their Social Security. You have a pie here. You can cut it 100 ways or 1,000 ways. Something's going to fall off the table, man. So if they're going to a restaurant twice a month and you're increasing the property taxes, guess what? They don't go to the restaurants.
Yeah.
They're not paying the money. The restaurant's losing the business. Same thing with the gas. Maybe they're not making as many trips, or maybe they're reducing the amount of groceries they're getting to offset the property taxes. It all has to come from somewhere.
Right.
You can't just continue to increase taxes along with personal property taxes and expect nothing to happen. The repercussions are going to be the market's going to start freaking crashing. People are going to stop eating out. They're going to stop spending that extra money because they don't have it, because it has to go to property taxes.
Right.
And that's where we're at with it.
Yeah, you
Seeing
get
it
to a
time and
point
time
where you
again.
probably, and I was trying to explain this to someone this week, is like, okay, if you okay, you want to fund something, right? What's the easy no comment, like, oh no, people aren't going to be against this, right? Oh, well, let's just do a sin tax, right? So a sin tax. We're gonna add a 1%, 2% tax to alcohol and tobacco. Okay, that's fine and dandy. That's well within your prerogative to do. You add a 1 or 2% alcohol tax on a county that already has a quote unquote sin tax, right? And you have alcohol available within most of the county, a 10-minute drive out of the county, and the price is cheaper. What are you doing ultimately by raising the price of that? Well, you're driving your alcohol business out of town, right? Because they're gonna find a way to make it work. But also, you're throwing that money over to other states, right? Like, 'cause Missouri's right across the state line from Bella Vista, right?
Well, I bet you.
And if you're paying $3, $4 more for alcohol in Arkansas, where are you going to go? You're going to go right across the state line to get it, right? Same thing with tobacco. Same thing with all goods. People have the ability, and that's the thing about, free commerce and free trade and capitalism. People have the ability to shop. We don't have fixed prices. So what you're going to ultimately do is drive the revenue down by raising it to a point where it's not tenable to maintain paying for that product. So now you're driving your commercial tax base down even further by making a bonehead decision to raise taxes on something that people regularly consume, right? Versus going after the person that's actually doing the damage to the area, putting the strain on the infrastructure, putting the strain on all the civic resources, putting the strain on your first responders, flooding your roads with bike traffic and car traffic and everything else. And at the end of the day, we could say, well, this is a good thing for Bella Vista because it's going to boost commercial revenue, but it's not going to boost commercial revenue if we don't have commercial entities coming into Bella Vista to reap the rewards. And we don't. That is one of the major problems I can see with this. So the only common sense aspect it makes is to say, look, you want to build something like this in our community, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, the infrastructure is set up, and that can be done. The problem you got now is, and me and you have had numerous discussions about this. You have your state, you have your local city tax, and you get done. We're in the top 5 of the country, man.
Yep.
It's not inviting. People see that and they understand. It's like you said, they have other options. If you're living within 15 to 20 minutes from the border, whether it's Oklahoma or Missouri, you can go over the border and purchase whatever you want to purchase elsewhere. If you're buying a $3,000, $4,000 tractor in let's just say at Home Depot, and you're paying 10%, that's $400 worth of taxes, right? So you could go somewhere else and save a lot more than that. You know what I mean? A couple $100 to drive 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
So Sharon left a comment here, dude, the bike park is not the cause for doubling the water rates. No, and I wasn't saying the bike park is the cause for doubling the water rates, Sharon. You may have misheard me. I said the whole infrastructure, the build out of all of these high density apartments, the build out, the overbuilding is putting that strain on Bentonville's infrastructure.
Sure, you got to hook up the sewer.
All the hookups, all the traffic, all the construction equipment. Look at any given day how many cranes are up in Bentonville at this point in time. It's ridiculous, the amount of growth, right? And that is what's putting the strain on the infrastructure. And so rather than say, hey, look, man, there needs to be an impact for all this developmental growth because you guys are really wreaking havoc on our infrastructure. No, we're going to the taxpayers and saying, well, you got to pay more. And I don't jive with that, man. Because again, this is all being driven by an entity called the Northwest Arkansas Council, the Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission. Like there is a plan for all, this is all planned growth. They're the ones putting that impact on everybody's infrastructure, and they're not even being charged for it. They're the ones doing it, but they're not actually having to subsidize the impact. Does that make sense? I hope it does.
Yeah.
That's the way I view it, because this is all a plan. Look at all of our city councilmen. They're like, oh, the 2025 plan, the 2030 plan, the 2040 plan. Oh, the plan, right? When did the people vote on the plan?
Right. Yep.
When did the people vote on the plan?
Why haven't we seen the same thing with POA? Get ready, man. You're going to see another 3 for 3 right around the corner. Same thing. Spend, spend, spend. You know, I'm just asking for fiscal responsibility at the end of the day. That's what I'm asking for. I don't think that's a lot to ask for. Well, and people that have limited means, you're pushing out. You're not only doing that, you're pushing out younger kids that can't afford to live here, dude. They got to move on and move
dude,
to another area of the country.
I'm out of the same, I'm out of the same boat, man. We bought here years ago, man. It was affordable, and it wasn't like, oh yeah, we could afford to live in Fayetteville, but like if you looked at the community and you looked at like, man, really, I'm dumping this type of money into this? Nah, that's not cool. Like I wanted something that's like actually, where I could establish roots and raise my kid and have that quality of life, be out in the woods, be safe, right? A safe community. Those are very big things that were important to me when, purchasing a first home. And so moving here, was a decision that I made. And yeah, it's a fuddy-duddy POA, right? Whatever. But at the end of the day, man, it was the decision I made. And boy, howdy, man, fast track a few years and just trying to unpack everything that you know about the POA, the ACC, the city, the collusion between the three entities, the old guard still running stuff as if we were a POA, making decisions that are unconstitutional, an attorney that's advising things to be pushed through that's unconstitutional. There's a ton to unpack here, right? Yeah. And boy, howdy, I don't know if I would have bought here, man. I really don't. But I do love Bella Vista. I love the people of Bella Vista, and I love the community for what it actually is. We have a lot of talent here. We have a lot of people from all walks of lives that have chose to retire here or move here or call this place home. And we have a really talented group of people that live here. And that's something that I think makes us a little bit different and unique. We have a lot of people during the stump dump. We had people coming up with creative ideas to get the fire out, flooding options. Ultimately, it was out of the control of the city because they mucked it up enough, and the state started taking control of it. Luckily, Tom Judson was able to get involved because they were the primary responsible party, the POA, and they were able to have an opportunity to put it out on their terms versus being billed up to $48 million from the state to put it out. So again, we have talented people here. We have people who are receptive, and it's important as a community to rally around all the talent we have and make stuff make sense. So Sharon asked a pointed question. She goes, what are the top 3 best ideas for getting fiscal responsibility with the POA? It's not a POA issue. The POA is a 501(c)(3). They're going to do whatever the heck they want. And the only issue you have a say in is voting for a person to represent you and your will. Well, we know how those votes go. You can always go and talk to Jim Parsons about that. And, he'll tell you this, having to sign an oath to the POA versus the Constitution of the United States. I welcome anybody to go talk to him. He's a wealth of knowledge about all things Bella Vista. But what I'm saying is from a city aspect, if you want to put a tourist attraction in, a high traffic, high risk park per se, then that is a commercial entity. And there should be a classification for that type of commercial entity so that the people are not subsidizing that commercial entity. That commercial entity should be a net positive to the city coffers, period.
I agree with you.
Based off of its own existence, no projections, nothing else. It should be a net positive.
And that's why we're saying that it's going to ultimately roll back to the citizens in the form of property taxes.
Yeah. And that
they're
is,
and their POAs involve raising the transfer fees when you sell properties. They increased it again, so they're taking more money. It gets to a point where everybody's grabbing a nice chunk of pie.
well, yeah. Hey, Matt, we appreciate the comment. The people of Bella Vista are awesome. Yeah, I agree. The people of Bella Vista are the awesome thing about Bella Vista, man. We have the opportunity to meet so many awesome people, and that's one thing I love about doing the podcast, man, is the ability to talk to so many people, to sit down and get perspective from so many people as well. I mean, that's why we started this, man, is we were like, are we the only two dodos out here thinking like this? And turns out we weren't, man. So again, a little housekeeping, we're at the tail end of this. It's 9:16. We have definitely run over about 10 minutes, but again, we're just having real talk, after hours talk. You call it what you want, but at the end of the day, man, tell people about the podcast. Tell people about the Bella Vista Unfiltered group. We are trying to be a platform for people to talk about the things that are important, present their ideas. Again, I don't know if it's legal to charge a high-risk commercial entity a higher tax rate for their commercial operations, but I would think that discussion could take place and somebody could provide some clarity on how we could do something like that, so that the people, because the POA, we all know we're on the hook for subsidizing shit with the POA. We know that, okay? We want a new restaurant. It doesn't matter. They want a new restaurant. We got to pay for it, y'all, and we got to subsidize it, right? That's just the way it is with the POA. But with the government entity, there are rules. There is the Constitution. There are laws and courts that we can go to. POA is like, well, you signed the contract to be a part of it. You should have read that contract a little bit better, right? It's not that way with a government agency. So keep that in mind.
Well,
but
that's why I was a proponent with a lot of the restaurants the POA had. I felt that if you lease those out and you get the taxpayer, you get more tax money, instead of having it go into the coffers,
Yeah, I don't know. It's Bella Vista is unique. Bella Vista is it's a headache sometimes, but at the end of the day, like I said, the people of Bella Vista is what I really can rally around. We have so many great people in Bella Vista. Talented, thoughtful, innovative, professionals on top of it, man. I mean, like during the Stump Dump, I met engineers, just trying to reach out and help any way they could. And that's the thing that I learned the most about this community, is that we have a lot of really talented and caring people in this community. They're quiet though. They're quiet. And so
get more people involved with the government, man, the local government, whether they run for city council or just start coming to the meetings. Be engaged.
Like I said, I was happy to see more faces, even city employees showing up to speak their minds. I'm all for it. I mean, that's your 3 minutes, and that's the thing that we've been saying this whole time, man. This whole 3 years is you have a voice, and your voice deserves to be heard. So go exercise your 3 minutes. Reach out to your city council person, email them, call them, bug them. Let them know the things that are on your mind. They want the feedback for sure. If they're doing their job, they definitely want the feedback. I know Wendy wants the feedback. I know Shay wants the feedback. I know Travis wants the feedback, and I know Anna wants the feedback for sure. And after talking with Honcho, I believe he wants the feedback. Wilms, I don't know if he really wants the feedback per se, just to tell you a story about something he did back in the day. I'm going to make sure I send him an email this month as well, with my thoughts on everything that has transpired. But again, it takes a village to run a village, and I hope that everybody can be a part of that and really vocalize. We all deserve to have our voices heard. We pay a lot of money in taxes. Again, we're like one of the top 3 in the state, probably top 5 in the nation. We pay a lot. Our city doesn't have the responsibility of half of the cities. We don't have an electric. We don't have a water utility. We don't have a parks recreation department. So again, where'd the $1 million go? We need to have these adult discussions. Why are unilateral decisions being made that impact our library and our services and the things that we expect out of the services that we pay taxes for? All valid concerns. So please, please, please vocalize that with your elected leaders, and dig in, be part of the family. Bella Vista Unfiltered, NWA Exchange Podcast. I don't know. Final thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Have a great weekend and take care.
All right. Remember, when you're out there in the free world tomorrow, be nice to everybody. You never know what somebody's going through. I know people are struggling in all shapes and forms and fashions. Just remember to be humble and kind to people. Kindness usually wins the day, right? You don't have to agree. You just have to be kind. Be empathetic and be kind when you're out there perusing the world. Never know what somebody's going through. Till the next one, stay happy, healthy, humble. Call your moms and tell them that you love them, and call your parents. I always say mom because my dad's, passed, but call your mama, call your daddy, call your uncle, call your family, let them know you love them. Your brothers, your sisters, the whole 9 yards. Till the next one, man, we're out of here. Have a good one.
All right.